If we can, my staff can stand up for a minute. It wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for you all, and I appreciate all you do. We appreciate all you do, and let's have a good meeting. Thank you. Next up is our board of directors here in the front. If you guys stand up, please, for a minute. Same thing. We appreciate the support and all you do, and none of this would be possible without you. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. We are going to kick it off with Bryant Thomas, our chairman of the board.
Good morning and welcome. I see this year we have the youngest attendee that we've ever had. There's a stroller in the back, and I commend her for bringing her child, and they will probably go to sleep during this meeting. So good reason to bring a child. Thank you for attending the MISTIG annual meeting, and we have great training sessions or educational sessions for the next couple days. Really hope that you take advantage of them. And as you saw, the MISTIG staff stood up and the MISTIG board of directors, and truly a heartfelt thank you from each one of us. As well, if you have questions or comments, you want to pull us aside, please do. Come and grab us. Let's talk. Let's have some exchange of ideas and thoughts and collaborate. This is our forum to be able to do that. So really want to thank you for attending and being here with us. Joe, our interim CEO, is going to be available as well, and he will take any question that you have to throw at him, and he looks forward to it. So I'm going to put him on the spot here today, but please interact with us. And truly, if you have a question or a comment, just reach out. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for being with us here at MISTIG.
Okay, 3 more groups I want to thank all of you. I'm truly, and my staff is truly inspired by this turnout. Well done. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Second, the staff of Soaring Eagle, thank you for all you do and for the next 2 days. We appreciate you guys. Lastly, I'm just going to recognize Brent Thomas again for all the hard work that he's put in for the past 3 or 4 months. I have gotten to know him. I started 6 months ago here, and we have a great relationship and building something really great, and I can't wait to see what we're going to do. So thanks, Brent, for your time. Okay, Damien.
I'm Damien Frazier, and the reason the baby's going to fall asleep is because of me. Every year I just give an update on legal things that face MISTIG, and in the last year actually it's been a very calm year. There's no lawsuits, no major changes to bylaw, actually no changes to bylaws. Nothing impacts MISTIG's legal ability to go forward, so it's been a great year. Later on, just a reminder of those of you who still have not voted for board members, check with Bill and make sure you get your ballots in. And after that, who's next? Back to Joe. Thanks.
Thanks, Damien. Okay, so I decided to do something a little different this meeting, and for 2 reasons. One, we just had a company restructure at MISTIG, just smooth operations and to streamline certain events and objectives that we have. So I thought it was necessary to give the high-level company objectives that I'm going to cascade down to my team, and then what better for you to see some of the newer faces at MISTIG and to hear from the subject matter experts what they have in plan for 2023 and won some great milestones for 2022. So company objectives in a visionary plan, so to speak, for this year are 6 different plans. I'm not going to go into detail, but the first being a digital media education plan, which we'll touch a tiny bit. Second is building a MISDIG proprietary app. 3 is Lattice in HR revamp. Lattice is a HR company that really does a great job with keeping track of OKRs, or objectives and key results, engagement surveys, streamline performance reviews. So we're very excited to be able to offer that to the employee base. 4, company organization, which was that new structure. And 5 is a benefit overhaul. This is very exciting to me. We'll touch on this. We'll touch on this too. And 6 is a business continuity plan. So it's not in my slides, but just think if our major operating system has a failover or has an outage. Well, what happens to the call center? So we have a big goal at MISDIG to build some sort of backup database, backup system, so we don't lose connectivity, we don't lose the ability to take tickets. So those are the planned 1 through 6. First thing, digital media education plan. There are 10 million Michigan residents and 7.25, 0.438, no, I'm just kidding, people on social media. We are going to take another big, bold plan from our followers, of 500 and 600, and really try to ramp that up to 7 million over the next 6 months. We're going to do that by predictive analytics and screen scraping and building some algorithms into all the major social media sites. What's great about being able to reach that many people daily, weekly, is that predictive analytics and artificial intelligence will allow for screen scraping. So for instance, if there's somebody posting about a new pool or a new construction job, and the system or the code will realize that these events are happening and automatically push a link that says, call before you dig, or click before you dig. So we're really excited about this opportunity. Second was that proprietary branded app. Again, really excited to be able to bring this technology to MISDIG. Roni's definitely excited to bring this technology to MISDIG. And some of the things that I was talking about in the company restructure, you can see here. So Stephanie Bowe, who runs our customer service department, which the notification center falls under, will spearhead with IT, and you have the chance where there's, you sign up for the mobile app, and it allows you to chat directly with one of the call center representatives. So big, bold plans. We're inspired for 2023. Okay, James?
Thank you. My name is James Henderson, the Senior Accounting Manager. I've been with MISDIG for about 2 weeks, and I just want to present to you financial information reflecting our most recent audited financial statements as of March 31st, 2022. So just be a very high-level discussion and just kind of touch upon some of the major aspects of our financial position. Last year, I'd say that we could call that a successful fiscal year, ended March 31st, 2022. Our overall net assets increased by over $1 million. That means that we finished the year with $1 million more in assets over our liabilities than we did from the previous year. And you can see this chart goes back 5 years. That's going to show us that back to, in 2021, we had, looks like a banner year, and then previous to that with the COVID years and before, much smaller financial returns, really indicating that, the budget and the financial results were more or less in line with what was expected. So as of March 31st, 2022, we were sitting on about $7.4 million in net assets. A good portion of those have been set aside by our board, capital acquisition and maintenance, Great Lakes Foundation. The biggest part of this represents working capital, which is a 6-month reserve of operating expenses. So that would provide for any sort of interruption in our cash flow or interruption in our business processes. There's also a research and development component, which represents 10% of our investment income, and that's just sitting at $6,636 because we had some losses there. Cash position, we're sitting on, at the end of the fiscal year, about $2.4 million in cash and about $7.4 million in investments. Those investments are largely debt securities from U.S. corporations as well as equity securities. And going forward, as of last week, we just approved our operating budget for the next fiscal year, which ends March 31st, 2024. That budget is accounting for new hires across many of our departments for, to ensure smoother operations and to ensure better customer service. And finally, we did return back to our members through our most recent billing $1.25 million of excess reserves, and you'll see that on your most recent invoices as a reduction to the amount owed to Miss Dig, and hopefully we can continue that going forward. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Mackenzie Dunn. I am the Human Resources Manager here at Mystic 811. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. I just started about 6 weeks ago, so I'm brand new. But everybody that works for the organization has been wonderful and very inviting, so thank you all. I want to talk about what happened in 2022, even though I wasn't here for most of that, and then looking forward to 2023. So in 2022, we released Ease. That's our new benefits platform. So we went from paper to pen to submitting to benefits carriers to having a one-stop shop for our employees via an automated system to enroll in benefits. We had large organizational restructure, creating a hierarchy within the customer service department, as well as creating a business ops team. We filled several key positions. As you can tell, we have a new director of IT, HR manager, finance manager, and other positions that have been filled. And finally, we really filled out our work from home transition, making it more permanent and creating policy and procedure to make sure our employees have the technology they need to do their jobs to the best of their ability. 2023 will bring more change. Why? We've already had so much change. Well, there are a lot of reasons why we need to have more change on top of the change that we've already had. And the reasons are listed here. There is a lot of uncertainty with change, so we need to make sure that we're following through with change management. That means having those difficult conversations, ensuring collaboration and knowledge transfer, and culture building. We have tons of new employees. We all need to be brand stewards and ensure that they feel included as part of the mission, vision, and values of the organization by expanding communication channels and building culture. We've had so much growth. With growth comes risk. We need to have standardization within the HR department to mitigate risk, and also have process documentation to ensure that knowledge is held within the organization and not within individual employees. Looking to the macro side of things, the economy is changing, as we know. We need to find areas for cost savings, and that will include doing a benefits review. Of course, within the world, there are so many technological advancements, and we need to be right up there with the rest of our competitors, and that will be done through a systems analysis. Finally, with changing societal values, mental health is becoming the forefront of medical benefits, so we want to expand fringe benefit offerings and make some policy revisions as well. So now to the exciting part for 2023, looking forward. I have 6 points I want to touch on. So the first is systems. We're going to be looking at new systems and how we can leverage them effectively. Joe had mentioned Lattice. Lattice is going to be our new in-house performance management system. We'll be able to deploy trickle-down surveys, engagement surveys. All of our performance reviews will be done through this system, and there will be direct feedback opportunities to ensure collaboration. We're going to look at our benefits. We're talking about paternity leave, maternity leave, expanding those benefits, offering more fringe benefits, looking at our PTO policy. How can we make ourselves more lucrative in the employee job market? We're going to be looking at our handbook policies in general, revising those and making sure that we're in compliance with all federal and state laws and regulations, as well as being fair and equitable to each employee. We're going to be talking more about culture and building a stronger culture within the organization by having more interdepartmental groups, sessions, meetings, as well as looking at data. Data will be integral for this year. I'm going to be doing a lot of data analysis and review to ensure that we can make business decisions based off payroll data and also HR data. And finally, we're going to be reviewing processes and ensuring that our processes are fair, fast, and equitable, making this a great place for employees to work and do their job successfully. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Miranda Carr. I've been with Mystic for probably a little over 6.5 years. I started out in the call center, then I went to the admin, took on admin, building and grounds, and then we actually converted the building and grounds to what is now the asset department. So the 2022 overview. The asset, building, and grounds were merged to form what is now known as the asset department. Although a minor change, it affords us the opportunity to keep things together and be more efficient with future decision making. As for the asset portion of our company, we had no universal asset tracker for use by all departments. So everything had to be done manually and tracked via an Excel form, which caused some issues. A new process was implemented to offset those issues, and I was able to take the original swag items and downsize them to more manageable list of necessities. Now, we did close the Auburn Hills office in June of 2022 and stayed on track with our other 2 offices in Gladstone and Flint. The Gladstone office houses our main servers, while Flint serves as the backup for any issues that might arise. Due to the sale of the Flint office, the swag inventory and the emu are being stored at an off-site facility. Now for 2023, for what's up and coming, the asset department is working with the IT to implement an asset management program to keep track of all of our assets. This asset management program will allow employees within the company to see what assets are available and able to sign them out. If there becomes a need to borrow an additional piece of equipment or if one goes down, this new process will be much more streamlined and efficient. We are currently looking for an additional office rental building in order to bring our swag and inventory back in-house. This move will provide a better ease of use for all employees. The building will also have some offices for employees to come just in case their internet or power goes down. And also included in the office would be a conference room for meetings to be held. And mine was fast. That's all I have.
Hi everyone, my name is Ronnie. I just joined like a month ago. So 2022 I wasn't here most part of it. So I know we sold Auburn Hills location and we moved on and reallocated all the resources to Flint and Gladstone. And they continue to implement Pelican and support, make sure the system is up running. In the background, they were researching, developing system to implement for 2023. 2023, my vision is that we migrate our resources to the cloud So that way we have proper security, we have cost effective, so that way we can mitigate all those costs and hardware. And then there's also, we can have a region where we do like a data recovery, true data recovery. When you move to resources from Flint and Gladstone to AWS or any, I'm also looking at Azure, then we'll have true region-based recovery. So that way we have business continuity plan. We can fail over to different region if something goes, or if we need to deploy mass application, mobile app, anything we can do it on the cloud. So my vision is to implement cloud solution and then move there, and then we can have advanced security. Security is important for us because we're tying into a lot of government agency, a lot of utility company. So they're like, if you look at it, all these small companies are a huge target. So I want to make sure I mitigate, implement all the security procedure, and our company is up to standard with the protocol and everything around it. So security implementation, those are the basic that I would like to implement as soon as we can, like MFA, multi-factor authentication, to make sure we're secured all of our internal applications and applications that our customer or employee using it. So that way we can mitigate any, it's easier to manage and secure, and then we can log it. We can make sure we're tracking everything, where people are logging in from. We're also looking into email security, just to make sure we are up to standard with those as well. And we have a lot of phishing attack, and we can, so once we implement those, we'll implement something like AI-based, where it automatically learn behavior of certain people. Because sometimes if you use a standard email security, they block everything, right? They just block based on a policy that you implemented. If you implement something like AI-based, it knows how you write, how you type, and who you communicate, which website you will visit. So that way, it mitigates those stuff. So you don't have to see a lot of hassle, but they still protect you because it's learning constantly as you're sending email, receiving email. So that's something that we're looking into. Next thing is the security awareness training. That will help our internal employee and hopefully our members. We would like to, do a webinar, monthly webinar or something like that, where we teach a lot about like common phishing attack and all the trend around the world going on right now. Because our best security is our employee, right? Our front end. If they don't ever fall for a phishing attack, we would never go to the second step where our data has been compromised or breached. So our goal is to train them, and they know how to look for proper email, and they don't fall for any tricky phishing attack. Second thing is that we would like to integrate all of the application within one application, whether it's Okta, LastPass, whatever. It's like a two-factor, multi-factor, single sign-on. So you just go to one login and everything will be there. You just log in from there. So it's easier onboarding. So if you have a new customer or even new employee, we onboard, and offboarding is even more easier. Because currently we have like, let's say we have 20 different applications. They have 20 different login, or they have few different login, and it's harder to offboard because you don't know if you actually disable the account there or if you disable the account there. So if you have one true account management, it's linked to Active Directory. We disable account in one place, it automatically disables everywhere. So that's something we're looking into right now. Reporting is a huge part of our company. I know we have limited access to some of the data, especially because of vendor limitation. So I'm working with Bill and everybody else to see if we can give you guys more data and more live data, whether it's like a damage dashboard, industry dashboard, or some KPIs related to performance. So that way you guys can have true access to data, and so like something like live data. You can manipulate, you can view, customize your own report, you can set alerting, so something like that. So we're constantly working right now. It's a huge project, but we'll get started, so make sure you guys have the proper data and proper allocation so you can take a look what's going on. And also, maybe you can export it. So that's something we're working constantly. That's our goal for 2023, to implement some kind of live data so you can gather and collect, and then hopefully that's very informative for you guys. Thank you.
Let's get that face off that page. Good morning. My name is Stephanie Bowe. I'm I have worked at Mistig for 14 years, and the last out of 14 years, I've been working with our excavators who place tickets online. I started as an NSR in the notification center, and at that time, there was an operations manager, and it was her job to ensure that there was consistency in the way that we operate between our multiple facilities and our multiple departments. She retired, and she was not replaced, and we've grown a lot since then. We added an office, we closed an office, we added multiple individuals to our Mistig family who now work from home, and our departments grew and expanded independently from one another, each very successful on their own, though. There was a recent decision to combine the notification center and the web ticket department under a single umbrella, and that is known as customer service. The two departments, they share a common goal, and that is to ensure that the tickets go out with the highest quality so that they can be responded to by you, our members. We use the same platform, yet we train individually, we create our own content, and we communicate a little bit differently. So the combining of these two departments will allow us to share in our resources and ensure that we're operating consistently. I want to start with training. The web ticket department has the benefit of training year-round. We meet weekly. We discuss emails that have come in. How do we handle ticket situations? How do we improve the quality of tickets by our excavators? The notification center is a little different because they're busy taking calls all summer. So the way that they train is through a ticket review system of their operators, and that lets the operators know what's going right and the things that they can improve upon. Being an NSR can be isolating. You're on the phone all day with a headset on, taking call after call, and you no longer have the benefit of meeting each other in the break room to talk about your shared experiences or even to get to know each other. So we're going to spend this year working on a training program that includes both units, that allows them to collaborate, to reach a common goal, to complete tasks, and that allows them to communicate freely with each other when they're not on the phones. So we'll take advantage of that off season coming up. By doing this, hopefully we will reduce their isolation, provide a connection between their coworkers, which will increase trust, and hopefully it will increase trust with their managers as well. Content. Each department creates their own content. Again, yet we use the same system, so a lot of the things that we create are redundant. We're going to create a team consisting of both departments that will be responsible for ensuring that we have consistent content that is easy to consume and that is updated. Every time a Pelican update is made, all the multiple locations that those resources are located in get updated too. So that team will be responsible just to make sure that we have the resources needed so our internal and external operators can do their job. Merely by collaborating with our training and our content, that will increase our communication, but ultimately that falls on me. And it's my responsibility to ensure that we're communicating consistently, positively with our entire group so that they feel that they can provide feedback and that they're heard. Next, ticket reviews. The notification center and the web ticket department have done a great job over the last several years. We actually review excavator tickets together. That kind of fell by the wayside last year with the new system. So a top priority of the web ticket department this year is to create a ticket review system that allows us to identify excavators who might need additional assistance so we can provide that for them and then support them throughout the season. I have a couple of slides about the One Call Access platform I'd like to talk about. In 2021 actually, we saw the biggest change that I think anybody in this room has seen in years from Mistig, and that was the implementation of a new platform. It was the very first time that we had a system set limit so that the tickets could not exceed a scope of work guidelines, and that was for a normal ticket, and that makes up over 70% of our tickets. What that did for Miss Dig is that it reduced the number of tickets that we had to place manually. Because in the previous system, a homeowner ticket is what it was called, but it was a single address ticket that anybody could place. They would hit submit, and then Miss Dig would have to open up the ticket, review it, they'd have to map it, and then submit the ticket. So we've reduced the resources that are needed to create tickets because it was requiring every person in Miss Dig here who's worked more than 3 years at Miss Dig has been placing tickets, even though they haven't been in the notification center for maybe 10 to 12 years. I think the biggest change, though, that was seen by our excavators was our map. We were constantly getting complaints with the old system. Why don't you use Google Maps? Everybody uses Google Maps. If you use it, everybody will understand it. If you can see on the left-hand side of that screen, there is a street view of a map underneath the text. That was what the map looked like in the old system. It had no ability to see landscape. There was an aerial view that was added a couple years before we switched systems, but it was at a high level and the resolution was so poor that you couldn't always make out structures. So what I was doing to show you a picture of the new map, I just took a snippy of a random house, and as I was taking that snippy, I noticed there were 6 lawn chairs sitting around that pool. And that is nothing that you could see in the old system, so we've really come a long way with our map. And then when I was taking that picture, I thought, where could we be in 5 years? What if we could actually take a snapshot of real-time data after the excavator had put those paint markings down or put those stakes down, and you could actually see that on the ticket. So, I mean, there's endless possibilities, I think, of where we can go with technology to make the tickets improve. This year we have a lot of changes. I just selected a few to share with you because I could talk all day about one call access. But one of the things that we're working on right now is an additional map layer. So you might see a bunch of blue lines up there. That is the current parcel data layer that we use. It's the same parcel data layer that we used in the old system. But if anybody who is in here who puts tickets in here, they know that it's not complete. It doesn't include every county. So early last year, I got a call from an excavator who said, I've got this program that I use that complements the parcel data layer that you have. It's a different source. So we're working with Pelican currently, and I believe it's going to be coming to the test server within the next week. So as long as it works well, it'll be an additional map layer that you can use to find your location if it's at an address. Ticket sharing is actually being worked on as well. The ticket sharing feature currently allows excavators from the same company to share tickets, but they have to be external plus users, and they can only share tickets, they can't share positive response, which is a major deficit right now. Ticket sharing is coming. This is the next generation. It's still going to be ideal for excavators or users from the same company, and that's because you can share tickets for a certain time frame. This next generation won't allow you to say, I want to share this ticket number with this contractor and this ticket number with this contractor, but it will allow you to choose a time frame. So that's why it makes it ideal for people from the same company. But it does include positive response. So your field crews will be able to create an OCA account. Training is not required if they're not going to be placing tickets, and they can use it for the positive response platform. So they can take all the data that you shared with them and look at the ticket and check the positive response. What I do expect to come in the future after we receive feedback about how this next generation is going is I expect that there will be the ability to select certain tickets. So if a subcontractor works for 2 contractors, he may say, I want to share this ticket with this contractor and this one with this one, or I have this work order number and all the tickets under this work order number get sent to this excavator versus this excavator. So, I mean, we are looking towards improvements beyond this generation that you see coming up. After ticket sharing is in and going live and going well, multiple dig sites is a project we're working on next. And that allows the excavator to put multiple polygons on their ticket. So if you put poles in, or you work around signposts or soil borings, you will have the ability to create multiple polygons around those specific locations. What happens now is you have to create a polygon that covers all of those multiple locations, and then you're required to put written verbiage on the ticket to give like a description of where within that polygon you're going to be working. So we're looking forward to that, just to make things more streamlined with our polygons. As Joe mentioned, we're going to be adding a chat feature. You know, several years ago, we went from a call center, and we were known now as a notification center, yet we only have one single channel of communication, and that's call. So we're really a call center still. So adding the chat feature will add another channel for our excavators to reach out to us. Ticket reviews, I did mention that in a previous slide, but I do want to say that tickets are reviewed every single day by multiple people, and they're not Mystic employees, they're you. They're the people who have to open up the ticket and respond to the ticket. So you are our best resource. If you have a ticket that needs help, you have an excavator that you have to call constantly to get confirmation of exactly where they're digging because their ticket is unclear, their polygon is inaccurate. We have a ticket issue form that we encourage everybody to use. It's on our website on the Contact Us page. You just scroll to the bottom, you give us the ticket number, you explain what's going on, and that goes to WebTicket, and WebTicket can analyze it. And we try to determine what's going on with the excavator. Is this an isolated ticket incident, or is this something that we need to work with them on because they have an ongoing problem that they just need additional training on? Last but not least is system continuity. I think Roni and Joe both talked about a little bit. Currently, if the One Call Access platform went down, the NSRs will continue to take calls. They gather the ticket data, they put it into a spreadsheet, and when the system goes up, they manually input those tickets again. And that's not an efficient use of our time. So we're going to come up with a contingency plan that allows us to bulk upload. We'll collect the data, bulk upload it once the system does go up. I could talk again all the day about the things that we have going, but I thought those were the ones coming up soon. So thank you.
Okay, I'm with Stephanie. Let's get that face off the screen. I'm Laura Arnold. I am been with Mystic now for 14 years along with Stephanie, so a lot of new faces and then a lot of really old ones. I, just like Stephanie, have worked in multiple departments. I actually started working here answering the switchboard as a summer job after I graduated from college, because that was not a great year to graduate as an accounting major. And I was going up against interviews with guys who had really well-worn briefcases. So I thought, I'm gonna go get this gig, I'm gonna get some experience, and then I'm gonna go work for Deloitte and do mergers and acquisitions. 13 years later, here I am. So many of you guys know me, and I've been around. I've been working in member services since 2017, so I've had the great pleasure of speaking with a number of you and a lot of familiar faces in the room from previous events. Due to some recent changes, I am now Vice President of Business Operations. What does that mean, right? So in addition to overseeing member support, I also have the great pleasure of working with Gail and Eric. Can you guys stand up, show your beautiful faces? I didn't tell them I was doing this. They've been with, and Eric's actually standing in back. Gail has been our education manager for 5 or 6 years now, and Eric's been with Mystic heck longer than I've been with Mystic. He's our director of external affairs. So I have the great pleasure of working with them, and similar to what, really echoing what Stephanie had said, opening lines of communication and really bringing our groups together. And how do those teams work together? Well, certainly we need to be educating and working with Stephanie's department and what Mackenzie's doing in terms of benefits, and right, what Roni had talked about in terms of education on fishing and internally educating our employees. And a lot of that's going to flow through Gail and her department in terms of education. And then we've got Eric with external affairs. He's done a lot of work in the past working with industry organizations and getting our messaging out there. But by working together, we'll have a common voice, communicating system updates, both internally and externally amongst our many stakeholder groups. It's not a touch screen. I have got to remember that. So what did we do in the past? What did we do in 2022? The Member Services Department continued to support members with subscription changes. Where are your tickets going and when are they getting there? Station updates. When are you getting tickets, right? Your area of interest, what dictates when you receive a ticket? What format are you receiving them in? Who's responsible if something goes wrong? Helping our members navigate through some of those things. After we switched to the new platform in December of 2021, so right, just coming into 2022, like a lot of you, it was a new platform for us as well. So the Member Services Department went through, educated ourselves on exactly what all those bells and whistles did, and then worked with our education department to create the training curriculum that now lives on our Skill Builder site. A number of you have had access to or had received our guides in the past. As we were rolling those out, we made those available to the membership. Now that we have true training material, you guys are going to be able to see some improvements and improved accesses to the damage prevention portal. Gail and Eric's team worked to reach out to our excavators, our homeowners, and through our industry groups. Some of the ways they did that were through toolbox talks. These are short meetings where we're actually able to go in and work with different excavating groups and train them on their specific needs, and the education department tailors the message to the organization with whom they're speaking. They were able to do 97 of those last year. So it's 97 groups of folks working near your facilities who've now been trained specific to their needs. We also hold our safe excavation practices. These are the online certifications. They're taken by every MISTIG employee, as well as our members and excavators. And it is a great resource. If you haven't had an opportunity to do that, little hint, they're hosting them here today and tomorrow. So we actually have in-person sessions. Not only were we able to train a huge number of people, right? 1,200 online and in person. You can actually get continuing education credits for these. We know continuing education credits cost money to our members and our excavators, and Gail has gone through and made sure most of our trainings have continuing education credits associated with them. In addition to that, she's gone through and made sure any CEC group, whether you're wastewater or, I'm drawing a blank on this, but all the different groups, she's worked, if it's available, she has it. So if you need CECs, make sure you're signing up for our courses and letting us know which CEC credits you're after. In terms of outreach, we were at 51 events last year, where we were either tabletop events or at county fairs, getting word out to the general public. And in addition to that, we have 2 folks in our organization whose goal for the past year was to go out and talk to our municipal membership. Our municipal membership makes up over 70% of our membership. A number of these members came on long before Public Act 174. In fact, the former act that dictated MISTIG only required one group to be a member of the one call, and that was public agencies. It stated you have to participate in, but do not have to be members of. You have to pay the fees, but you don't necessarily need to choose to vote. As a result, a lot of them came on, but weren't necessarily engaged in the process. They didn't see themselves as members. And as we know, each year with each election, there's turnover, and information gets lost in the process, right, with the knowledge being transferred. Many of them are not engaged in our training sessions or what we're doing. They see themselves as the odd man out. So Colleen and Paul went out to 500 municipalities last year, our municipal members, got in the door, talked to them about MISTIG, answered their questions, made sure they could get logged in. If they had an issue on the member side, got them in contact with member support and made that connection. If they were having issues placing tickets online, got them in touch with Stephanie. So we're able to engage now a huge portion of our membership in the process, and hopefully now that they're engaged, we can keep them engaged. So those were a number of things we were able to do last year. Okay, now what can you guys expect from us in 2023? We are going to have a focused effort on education. We had previously been somewhat siloed, partially because we were all training different groups with different information. Stephanie's department has already began to work together in terms of pulling that information. and making sure what our internal NSRs know reflects what our external users have, and they're up to date on that information. Similarly, member support went through and did our education and made sure we had training available for our members. And our education team has acquired a new platform and skill in creating curriculum within a program called Articulate, which is interactive. So no longer are you going to just be playing a video and we hope that you're listening. You're clicking through and interacting with it. And this is a new tool in our tool belt, if you will. So Gail has a vision for what we can do with our education internally and externally, how we're going to be able to work together to have a common learning objectives, and that we're conveying that information across multiple platforms to the multiple stakeholder groups. So what you can expect to see in that regard is improved training targeted to you for the learning objectives specific for using our system for Public Act 174 and for safe excavation. Many of you who've been around for a while are familiar with the old DPAs or DSAs. They were a great success for a number of years. People came out, turned out, they networked, they connected, they got to know each other, and as a result of that, when things came up, they would call each other. And we know that oftentimes when frustrations arise or issues arise, the lack of communication can really spiral a situation. So we know that we need to do something. But we haven't been able, since the law passed, really to get a hold on what's going to engage our different stakeholder groups. We've tried things, and we would get turnout at a meeting here and a little there, but truly to engage the different stakeholder groups. What we found, I think, is what's worked well in the UP is larger meetings once a year. Instead of having folks expected to come out monthly and sit and chit-chat, or quarterly and get an update, we're busy. And most of our companies are short-staffed. So to ask your employees to come out and do that is certainly challenging, and we recognize that. So we're going to hold pre-season in-person meetings. These will be larger events, like just picture half this room, right? We'll put on a little bit nicer of a spread because we're not doing these guys monthly, and they'll be just a little bit longer. We'll be able to give you system updates, training specific for the season, maybe some best practice updates from the Michigan Damage Prevention Board, but things that are impactful for that season. It'll also foster that networking, an opportunity for our utility companies to share what's going on in their industry, major contractors to come in and say, hey, I'm going to be installing this, and it would inform the facility owners and the locators specific to your region. Locating companies can come in and tell you what they're seeing and kind of where their struggles have been. And we can begin to understand what's working and not working within a geographical region. Do we stop supporting you there? Absolutely not. We're going to have dedicated regional support. So instead of 1 or 2 folks from MISTIG handling 13 or so damage prevention associations, we are going to, or damage safety alliances, we're going to have 7 people supporting 14. Each of them will have 2 regions that they're responsible for, and they will be neighboring regions. So you will get very specialized, specific support. They're going to be responsible for maintaining things like mailing list and contact lists. So if you've got an issue, you can call up your regional person and they can go, okay, who do we need to get in contact with that organization? If another group maybe is putting on a training event in your area, we can get that information out. We find out about a big project in the area, we can communicate it and make sure we're being updated and updating you guys as well. So we're excited and eager to see how that's going to play out this year. And we recognize that we're going to continue to adapt to the changing needs of our industry. But hopefully getting you guys out one time, you're willing to show up and hear from us, and everyone's willing to hear from you, and we can foster that communication. Eric's going to continue to push on the industry partnerships and grow those that he's established over the past 2 years. We've had the opportunity to speak at a handful of their events, have tables at their events to get word out. But in order to truly partner with them, can we get engaged in their newsletters? Is there more opportunities to speak instead of just to have a table set up in the back? If we can get in contact with a fencing organization, they might not know to have their folks come out to the MISTIG annual meeting or about our SEP training, but they show up there to learn about skills and techniques associated with their organization, and we can feed them into our safety. What about the people who don't know about Mystic, right? That DIYer who's installing a fence, and Joe talked quite a bit about this in terms of like search engine optimization, really targeting these people through social media and through different groups. So Roni's going to be working on our website. We hope we can search engine optimization through there. We're going to have an increased presence on social media. The goal is to provide relevant information to those who would follow us, right? Those are our members. Those are people who are already engaged in the process. What do you guys need to know? System holidays, maybe some monthly stats. How can we push valuable information out to you? And then how do we engage with those DIYers? So going through and partnering up with and following fencing companies and following the local nurseries. So when somebody's out planting a tree and they're following their local nursery or garden club to see how to do that or what tree to plant, they're going to be tied in with us, and we'll begin to follow an organic network through there as well. In addition to that, so it's a lot of what we're doing where we're pushing out information. How are we working with our members? As I mentioned, we had 2 folks out on the road last year meeting with our members. With the switch in the platform, we are actually going to establish a customer relationship management system. This system functions a lot like our former system, and neither provide a great place to store additional contact information, maybe rules or regulations specific to how we interact with your organization. You know, what reports you like to receive or your concerns. So we're going to create and establish a CRM system, and in order to make sure we're plugging in the best information, instead of pulling what was in the former system or in the current system, we're going to do member reach outs, calling you up, finding time to sit down with each member and establish that and have a solid foundation. This will also give us the opportunity to go over your setup in the portal and make sure all the users who have access should have access, and everyone who needs access has it. We'll be able to just kind of go over that with you. Many of you guys, if you use the damage prevention portal, we have a small dashboard in there, and we're hoping to make that slightly more robust and a little more accurate. It pulls information from a couple of different sources, and so it isn't the most reliable. And that's something our vendor's been working on. So that'll be a place where we'll be able to give you real-time feedback specific to your organization in conjunction with what our IT department's going to be doing to provide a broader perspective as well. We've also have a couple of APIs. So historically, we've had the API in order to push responses to Positive Response. We will also be establishing APIs in order for excavators to pull responses from Positive Response into their workflow systems, and the ability to push them to your workflow system or your work management system through a webhook. If we're going to allow you to push and pull Positive Responses, it makes sense that we would also allow you to push in tickets. So an API is being developed as well for ticket injection. And these will be things that will be available in 2023. And along with that, in our training, I think a number of you may have already received the emails, we have added additional functionality within the damage prevention portal. So you'll be able to actually go in and manipulate and update your station subscriptions, ticket deliveries, things of that nature, and even resend reports and tickets to yourself. In order to do that, this is for our advanced users, so our admin, full access, and authority viewer users who have the ability to impact permanent change on the receipt of tickets. We are requiring training. So if you have one of those accounts, if you haven't already, you'll be receiving an email from member support that says, hey, if you want to maintain this level of authority, you need to complete the training within 90 days. Don't fear. If for some reason you don't complete it, we are not pulling your access away. We're going to drop you back down to like a Positive Response account where you'll still be able to post to tickets and look at tickets, but you won't be able to go in there and make those permanent changes until the training's complete. I'd say any questions for me? I will be around all day, so please come track me down. We also have a Pelican room. I believe, Bill, is our Pelican kind of help desk upstairs? So up these stairs here, we'll have some rooms set up. Myself or someone from Member Services will be in there, someone from WebTicket, likely someone from Education. So if you have specific questions where you want us to get on our computer and poke around and make changes for you, come check us out up there. We'll have support for you, hand in hand. I should keep stalling because Bill's talking to Damien about the results. All right, Damien.
The results of elections are the locator, Brian Dreesen, is Brian here? Was reelected. Jim Moscow, who's the excavator rep for our board, was elected. And Jared Gottlieb, who is the design engineer representative to our board, was reelected. Just to pay, for future years, on next year for our elections, MISTIG posts upcoming board member openings to the website. They promote, try to actively recruit, to full extent, get a lot of people involved. So if you're interested, reach out to any of the staff members or board members to let us know that you're interested, and take name down and follow up later on. But just one more thing, this board this last year, all this change, this board has put a lot of time in this year. I mean, they've done a lot of heavy lifting, and they deserve a heck of a applause for what they've done this year.
Okay, just to recap, you might have asked yourself, so much talk of reorganization, company structure, and I hope what you saw today and you realized with my team was, instead of being siloed like how we had everybody, being restructured so everyone is talking to each other. That's important. I think everyone mentioned on their slide something that they might lean on another department for, or 2 or 3 departments for. So, second, I noticed that 3 or 4 weeks into the restructure, 1 or 2 weeks into the new year, I'm throwing a lot at my team. And you know what? They don't waver, and they're happy to do it, and they're proud, and they want to be the market leader. So thanks, everybody. Okay. If you don't know what session you signed up for, I think there's an app you can download from the iOS store and the Google Play Store called Expo Pass. Expo Pass. And you should be able to, it's just a link, no password, right, Roni? Okay. And we thank you all for your time. And again, I'm available for questions. Brian Thomas is in the board. My whole team is available. So thanks for your attention, and we appreciate it. Thank you.